Welcome back. I just went ahead and left my Z on the lift from the last video, and I'm starting to take the turbo kit off right now, and I'm gonna get going on the fabrication. So sit back and let's just kind of see how this goes. We are in for a long day of cutting and welding, but hopefully we can get it done. Okay, I got the turbo out, and now you guys can kind of see. It's a little dark in here, but there's basically like no room. We got like an air compressor to the left. We got AC lines over here. I mean, everything is just ridiculously tight, which is like half the problem with turbo in this car. So we are just gonna have to pull this pipe out and see what we can fit in there. And yeah, I have no idea. I've got obviously some fabrication materials over here, and I am not totally sure what I'm doing yet, but I have some options, so we'll kind of see what fits down there. Alright, I'm going to keep uninstalling the turbo manifold portion, and I'll check back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm literally deciding as we go how this turbo kit is going to go, and what I ended up doing was we had Raven's old turbo kit laying around, which already had some 2-inch piping that kind of merged together, which saved me a little time because I didn't have to build like the primary pipes, and it went to like a really nice Y, but it had narrowed down back to like a 2 1/4 outlet. But if you cut the Y back just a little bit farther, it goes to 2 1/2. So my final decision on this turbo kit was I'm gonna do 2 2-inch primaries and go to a 2 1/2-inch up pipe, and I hope that that should be enough to get where I want to go. My friend did the math for me, and he said it's like a 56% increase in flow over what I had before. And it's not 100% better, but maybe it'll get us to the right goal. So anyway, let me show you where I am on the fabrication. I didn't want to film like a ton of this because it's kind of boring. I already have the piece that comes from this side down and over. It's going to be a V-band that goes here. I am sorry it's so dark. Give me a second, let it readjust for light. And this is the crossover Y pipe, and it's a lot tighter to the transmission, and I'm hoping that that'll allow me to put the bigger 2 1/2-inch pipe forward. So it's really hard to see. Hold on, bear with me. I don't know if you can even see it up in there. But basically it Ys together right in this area, boom, boom, and then it will come up and over, and it goes over. I mean, this is so tight here. Basically gonna go over to another V-band that sits right in there, and come forward and up, and hopefully set the turbo right above the AC compressor where it was. So, I mean, it's not very exciting to show any of this because you can't really even see it. In fact, it makes it very difficult to fabricate. But I'm just gonna do my best. And man, 2 1/2 it's bigger, so I hope that's enough. I mean, I just really need to satisfy my curiosity on how to get over the 450 horsepower hump. So, okay, back to work, and I'll check in a little bit and show you where I'm at. Okay, I'll just show you a little bit of progress. Nothing fancy, but 2 1/2 to a V-band. And I was trying to explain before, but this is kind of how it looks like. I basically, squished this pipe till it ovaled, till it was the width of these two coming in, so that it comes in with absolutely like zero restriction, super smooth into that 2 1/2. Like, it's a really nice transition. So we just have this little short piece of 2 and the crossover 2 into this 2 1/2 and up, and that's kind of where we're sitting. So hopefully this thing can produce, more power than the last one. Okay, so I'm putting the piping back up, and I realized I had spent money and got like really good gaskets. These things are like some kind of stamped, like really thick steel type gasket. But anyway, I've obviously had the car boosted for a while, anti-lag, 2-step, all that stuff, and I have not blown this gasket out. And the upper bolt on one of them had, you can see where there's a little bit of darker color right there. This bolt had loosened up, so it might have been leaking just slightly, and it still didn't blow the gasket out. So as long as I get this tight, this gasket will still work. What a good investment. I think these are like somewhere between 12 and 18 bucks a piece. definitely worth the money. If you guys are going turbo, get good gaskets, because blowing these out means you have to take it all back apart and replace the gaskets, and it's terrible. So, all right, I'm gonna install this back in right now. Okay, so I've been fabricating for like, well, I thought it was gonna be like a day, but it ended up being like 3 days, which it's just because it's so hard to fit the piping into the car. But let me kind of show you where we landed. I just pulled the turbo back out, and I have the pipe kind of fabricated up, but I wanted to show like how tricky the fitment is. It's actually crazy. So if you look down here, you see how close it is to everything. Like, I do have like a finger clearance around like everything, including like the AC line, but man, that is difficult. You have to kind of weave around the belt for the AC pump there, and when you get way down here, the one lower AC line, it is touching, so I'll have to like pull it back with like a zip tie or something, but it's like I'll probably be clear of it maybe a quarter inch is all. So, but this flange is a T3 that inside the flange is ported all the way out smooth to 2.5 inch. So this is as unrestricted 2.5 as I could get. Still wish I could have fit bigger, but as you can see, man, like bigger is probably not doable. I have like a 1/4 inch everywhere, which you need some space so you don't burn stuff up. So I hope this is enough to give us the goal we're looking for. I'm gonna pull this out and final weld all the joints, and then I have to add a spot. I ended up grabbing a new wastegate, because remember I was on 2 wastegates before. I wanted to head and grab the Hypergate 45 from TurboSmart. And I'll have to show you this in a second. Let me go up with the car, but I was able to, the position I'm putting it in will give it some wastegate priority, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay, we're here under the car now, and you can see how the tube comes around and up, and if you look at where the sway bar is, this obviously moves, and that end moves as the car, suspension travels up and down. So I have to put the pipe in a spot where it will be clear of the movement, and it is. But then also the wastegate can kind of be in a problem as well, because if it travels over here it gets hit, or if it travels over here it gets hit. So it took me a minute to figure it out, but I found a place, because technically the wheel is all the way down as far as it will go, and the wastegate's gonna go somewhere in here, right off that smooth straight piece. So it'll come up over the hump. You can see I made like a little bracket to hang the pipe, but it basically comes over here, and it'll almost be like a Y to the wastegate and then up to the T3 flange. Now the cool thing about this is giving like the air direction is coming this way with the wastegate. It'll give the wastegate similar amount of priority as going up to the turbo. So when we get to the boost pressure we want, venting off some of the boost pressure, the back pressure in here to make the boost regulate, will be like really, really smooth. It shouldn't overshoot target, and it should be really, really good. Also going to the Hypergate 45, it's like a 2.8 inch pipe. So, 1.8 inch pipe. I usually just use a 2 inch pipe because it welds to the flange just fine. But basically, that's pretty darn big. If you consider that the whole up pipe is only 2.5 inches, that should regulate our boost really well, and we should only need 1 gate. So, all right, I finished making that crazy looking pipe with the wastegate outlet, and I stuck the back pressure bung in the old pipe that was existing from the used kit that I used to fabricate this with. And now we'll have back pressure data, and we'll have wastegate in a really good spot. So now it's time to just get busy and install it all back in the car. Okay, after a super long day of work, I got the manifold all bolted up. I got the wastegate in. I got the lines ran for the boost controller. In the back here, I was able to get the line back on for my exhaust manifold back pressure, so that we can see if we reduce back pressure, going to the bigger pipe in this upper section. And the turbo's on, oil lines ran, so I'm basically ready to fire this thing up for the first time on that bigger up pipe. So I'm really excited. I think I'll probably end the video here. It's been probably just kind of a short one, but a lot of fabrication. I didn't bore you with showing all the welding and stuff. I kind of just zipped it all together as fast as possible. I wasn't trying to do any fancy welding or anything. I just want to see if this functions. I just have to know if we can make a bigger number, if this was really the limiting factor. After trying all the stuff that we've tried so far, and, you know, like I ported the merge, I did the 2 wastegates, I tried a bigger exhaust housing, I went to a bigger turbo, nothing worked. So I'm hoping this is it. So the next video, we should be finding out the answer to see if this fixes like the cheap turbo kit, essentially. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. In the next one, we'll be on the dyno, so it's gonna be awesome. All right, take it easy.